Okay, remember they have very, very high taxes. Can you please pay attention? Okay, very high taxes to all the products. They got really mad, remember, and they began to confiscate things. One of the main traders and very rich men from that time was John Hancock. John Hancock. Remember, they take his ship, he gets mad, and then he takes his merchandise. Okay, after this they close the port, remember? Okay, what happens in Boston? There's a trouble there.
The massacre?
Okay, it's supposed to be a massacre. Actually, just 4 people died, remember? Yes, they throw the tea to the ocean, and that's why they close the port. Okay, what kind of products did they receive from Europe? Cod, salty cod. Okay, and from America, they sugar and rum. Cod, bacalao. Answer. Okay, please. Se callen. Yeah? Okay, remember there's a very, very important character for the independence. And he was an engraver, and he made some drawings, and then he publishes these drawings of the massacre. What's the name? Paul Revere.
I read that Paul Revere was
His father. Father and son. Both of them were silversmith, but the father also was a dentist, and the son was the engraver. But they have the same name, Paul Revere. Okay. Another important character, Benjamin Franklin. Remember? He was the chief officer of the post office. Benjamin Franklin. Okay. Okay. Then we have some important battles. I didn't put them here, but there are some, in 2 places, important battles. Lexington and Concord. What happens there?
They tried to hide weapons, but they were hiding out. And well, the army was made just from farmers, slaves, blacksmiths, and artisans, so they don't have the experience. So at first, the redcoats won, but on Lexington, Paul Revere noticed that the redcoats were persecuting the others, so he warns them, and at first the redcoats start to win, but then they lose 1/3 of the army.
They form an army, an improvised army of 1,000 people, and then they beat them up. And this is the beginning of the independence. Okay, remember there were 13 colonies. Okay, remember the flag. What's the name? How's the flag? 13 circular stars. Aquí está Lexington. The battle. There are 2 battles. The main 2 battles. Okay, what's the date of the Declaration of the Independence? 4th of July? Okay. French Revolution. Okay, remember? Yeah? Babes, this is for you.
For me?
For everybody. I already know it. This is for you. Okay, this is the last topic. Remember, French Revolution is the last one. Yeah? Okay, the Louises. Remember, everything starts with Louis XIV. Why? He moves to Versailles. And this is the isolation of the kings from the people. Okay, then the next one is Louis XV. Okay, what happens with Louis XV? Something important thing. He loses the war against England. Okay, and he loses a lot of the colonies also. Okay, and finally we have Louis XVI. And this is the end of France, of absolutism. Okay. Louis XVI.
El rey Sol era
14.
Rey Sol.
Rey Sol. Please. May I continue?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Remember Louis XVI marries Marie Antoinette, and she was the princess of Austria. And she is part of the dynasty of the Habsburgs, while the Louises were part of the dynasty of the Bourbons. Okay, the two. Remember, there's three states or three classes, three social classes. At the very top,
King.
the clergy. Second, nobles, the nobility. And the third state is the peasants, the craftsmen. Okay, remember, most of the taxes, okay, were charged on the third state. And this is the beginning of the problem. Okay, remember, there is a very important finance minister that helps the people. And then finally he's going to be dismissed. The name of the finance minister, John Necker. Okay, and we have another leader, a super important leader of the French Revolution, Robespierre. Okay, remember Necker, el ministro de Finanzas. Please. Yeah? Okay.
Teacher, where's Jack Snickers?
The Minister of Finances. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, remember, they're against, of course, the monarchy, absolutism, and they join in what is known as the National Assembly. Okay, but this National Assembly is locked down. So they move next door to the tennis court. And this is known as the tennis court oath, in which there is a product. What's the product of the tennis court oath? A declaration of men and citizens. Okay. The tennis court, okay. Later, this is the beginning of the French Revolution, the assault of La Bastille. What happens? They take what? The prison, the dungeon. Inside of this dungeon, there was something. Powder and guns and weapons. ¿Ya? Si pueden salir, por favorcito. Rashid, ya. Okay, what else do we have? Okay, remember these fisher ladies that go to Versailles. What do?
Take the family.
They kill a lot of people, they decapitate a lot, they take their things, and they take the king and the queen and bring them back to Paris. The king and the queen are locked where? Literally, this palace in which they're not supposed to get out. Okay, but they try to escape, and they go where? Austria. But they're discovered. They're sent back. Okay. We have two great divisions in the assembly, the Girondins and the Jacobins. Which is the leader of the Jacobins?
Robespierre.
And the leader of the Girondins? Marat. Okay, what happens to Marat?
He's killed.
He's assassinated. Okay, by a girl, remember? Corday.
Mientras se bañaba. Trabaja en su desmadre.
Okay. Niñas, no se pueden controlar tantito. ¿Listo? No es forzoso que estén aquí. Si ya se cansaron, pueden irse. Yo sé que es demasiado, pero pues es un maratón.
Es un examen final.
Okay. What are the sansculot? The sansculot. ¿Quiénes son?
Los sin calzones.
Sin calzones.
But what are they?
Los soldados de los...
It's the army of the third state. Okay? The army of the peasants. Remember, they were against. Yeah? They were against who? What were they called the sansculot?
They were against the vestment of the
Yeah,
soldiers.
they did not want to wear the short pants of the king's army. Okay, La Marseillaise, remember. When do they sing La Marseillaise?
Marcel. They go to Austria.
When they're marching towards Austria in order to kill the invaders. Okay, la guillotine, of course, this is an invention. The terror of the regime of terror.
Robespierre.
Robespierre, remember, he begins.
He goes mad.
He begins to threaten everybody, all of his enemies, and they kill and kill and kill people. Okay, and after that we have the greater terror. Okay, who's Danton? He tries to warn Robespierre and says, okay, calm down, do not be so violent, otherwise you're going to also be killed. And what happens to Danton?
He got to the
He
guillotine.
gets to the guillotine. Okay. Remember, Robespierre creates a goddess that is the superior being. Shh, please. Abby, please. Okay, the goddess of reason. And they begin to create like a religion while they were enemies of the Christian religion. So they fall exactly to do the same. Okay, Prussia and Austria. Remember, they tried to invade. But also England and Italy and Spain and Portugal. Okay. Why do we say that the French Revolution is so important? Okay, this is the end of a regime that is known as
Absolutism.
absolutism, the old regime. Okay, after France finished with the revolution, we have an absence of leadership. And remember, they call 5 people. How is this time called? Directory, the French Directory. And after the French Directory, we have a leader that is
Napoleon.
Okay, some of the important things. Some of the important things of Napoleon, the civil code.
The Bank of
Okay,
France.
remember he creates a bank of France. He was kind of machist because of what? Okay, women of course could not vote, and he gives the divorce. The one that declares a divorce is just men, not women. Okay, the educational reforms. What else do we have? He signs a peace with England, but later he goes crazy. He declares himself an emperor, and he crowns himself. Remember, he calls the Pope, but he's the one that crowns himself. Okay. What's the name of the wife of Napoleon? Okay, important battles. Proceed, please. Okay, the battle of the three emperors. That was in Austerlitz. Whose emperors? The emperor of Austria, the emperor of Russia, and the emperor of France. Who wins? Napoleon. Okay. How do we call the battle? Shh. Yes. He's supposed to, yes. That's why he invades and he wants to go to Russia. This is the beginning of the end. Okay? Okay, what's the name of this battle that he loses? Waterloo. Where is Waterloo? Belgium. Okay, what happens, shh, please, what happens in Russia?
Teacher.
¿Qué pasó?
Hola, Mr. Roberto.
I'm glad that you pay attention like that, guys. Well, you will pay every semester. You have this kind of attention in all your classes. How are you? Ready for the partial exam for tomorrow? Yeah. Great.
Okay.
¿No dijo Gerardo?
Okay, remember what happens in Russia? The winter surprises them, and they're defeated. Okay, he loses almost all the army there.
That's the one before Waterloo, or that's after Waterloo?
That's before. Okay, the brothers. Remember, he sends 4 of his brothers to different countries. The most important one is the one in Spain, because this affects us. Pepe Botella, Joe Bottle. Okay. Jerónimo, Luis. Ah. Okay, remember we have. May I please? Please, we almost finished. Okay, after Napoleon is defeated, he's sent to a prison in an island. What's the name of this island? The first island. No, the first one. Elba. Elba. Okay. Elba is in front of Italy, but he manages to escape. Okay, and then he goes back. And then after the final defeat, he's sent to another island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean that is known as St. Helens. Okay, and there he dies. There's 2 hypotheses. Shh, please. One is that he was poisoned, and the other one is that he died of cancer in his stomach. Okay, after. Shh, yeah. Okay, after Napoleon was defeated, all of the countries around France are very, very mad. So they unite where? In Vienna. And this is known as the Congress of Vienna. What's the purpose? To restore the old regime and make France pay and give them back their territories. Okay? I know. Chan Chan.